Welcome to the Pot.Live podcast. I'm your host, Lenny G. This podcast is all about connecting the community with the thought leaders of business and entertainment in the cannabis industry. As this industry expands and becomes more and more mainstream, we want to educate and entertain our listeners and become your choice and voice for all things cannabis. Thanks for joining us and enjoy the show. Have you visited MJ.com? MJ.com is the online destination where you can find everything you need to know about the emerging legal marijuana industry. Where else can you find the latest original content, news, and trends? Connect to a local doctor to obtain your medical marijuana card, receive exclusive brand savings, and have your favorite product delivered straight to your front door? MJ.com has it all. Go check them out. Welcome to another episode of the Pot.Live podcast. I'm your host, Lenny G, and today we have a special guest, Miss Michelle Sundquist. She is the Director of Product Development for SōRSE Technology, and she comes from a 20-plus year background working with Starbucks. She has an extensive background in the food and beverage industry. She was responsible for developing and commercializing the ingredients for a number of beverages for Starbucks, including developing an entire new platform of specialized hot and blended beverages for a new concept drive-through. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Excellent. So why don't you give the listeners a little background first? I kind of gave a little summary of it, but we want to hear it from you. So tell us where you came from, how you got into the industry, and then, we'll talk about SōRSE Technology as well and your transition there.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you mentioned, I started in Starbucks. So I actually started about 23 years ago with Seattle's Best Coffee, which was a locally owned coffee shop that was based primarily in the US and Canada. So with that, we had a very small team. Prior to being acquired by Starbucks, we probably had about 150 employees. And with that, we had a very strong focus on more of this franchising kind of world. So one of the things that I did while I was on that team, we had a team of 3 product developers. We produced a line of products, as you mentioned, that were very targeted towards this drive-through concept. So a line of food and a line of beverage concept. So with that just came a lot of consumer research, really trying to figure out who that customer is, and then creating a menu that would really resonate with them. So through that process, we were acquired by Starbucks at some point. It was about 2001. And with Starbucks, I transferred over to the Starbucks product development team and worked on their cold brew coffee, their peppermint mocha, and a whole bunch of other beverages and ingredients, taking them from commercialization out to the public. So that's where a lot of my background was. It's super fun working for one of the best companies. It's a super fun environment to work in. There's not really any reason that you would want to leave. It's so fun. But after being there for 20 years, I decided I did want to see what was outside of Starbucks, just to kind of try something new and not be there forever. It was hard, and also to decide what kind of company that I would want to go to. So I decided that I didn't want to go to another coffee shop because I was already working for one of the best ones. So I decided I wanted to work for an ingredient company that had something new and exciting and potentially a startup, so I could try something entirely different. And that's how I ended up at SōRSE Tech, was just that I learned about this company. I had a friend that worked here. It sounded like a really great opportunity to try something totally new, an ingredient that's very trendy, and just kind of a really exciting new environment.
Great. So tell us what SōRSE Technology is for the people that have not heard of it.
Yeah. So SōRSE Technology is a processor. So we take CBD or THC and we process it into an emulsion. So the important thing to know about our company is that we don't grow cannabis. We don't distill it. We don't create isolate. We use suppliers. So we vet individual growers and suppliers for their product. And then we only work with the highest quality suppliers of CBD. So when we talk about like highest quality, it's not necessarily in, would you say, like the purest, best CBD. We can do that. We work with suppliers that have the ability to be able to control the quality of their product so that we can deliver a product emulsion to our customer that fits what they're expecting. And that comes from us really treating our ingredient like a food ingredient. So we're sourcing the raw ingredient, We're vetting it. We're making sure that these suppliers have the ability to do all of the testing that's needed in order to have a consistent product, to have a high quality product, and to have a safe product. And then our company, we specialize in turning that into an emulsion. So our job is to take this relatively thick, viscous, hard to work with material and turn it into a emulsion that has an even homogeneity, is stable, I think it's easy for our customers to work with. So a lot of confusion comes down with people thinking that we are a company that is growing or producing our own isolate. We're actually better than that because we have the ability to look at every single company out there that's producing CBD and then pick the best product that will work for us and be able to provide a high quality experience for our customers.
Does SōRSE have its own brand that's going to retail, or are you white labeling it for other brands, or both?
So we have products that we've developed that use our technology that are already sold in the market through some THC partners that we have. So we have our Green Med Labs that sells Major, Happy Apple, Utopia Waters, our Velvet Swing. So they sell those products, and our customers, as we're bringing in customers, they have the option of private labeling any of the products that are already sold in the market. So that's our THC world. We also have another line of products that we're developing for CBD that will be an e-commerce product. These products are white label as well. They'll be sold with the SōRSE logo, but any of our customers, if they're looking for a product that they want to carry, they could actually take one of our products. We could tweak it. Our product development team can work with them to create a unique version of that product, and then they can put their label on it and sell it as their product. So we have kind of these turnkey options, and then we also have the ability to be able to develop a new concept from scratch using our emulsion to fit whatever the customer is looking for.
That's great. So you offer a few different solutions for business owners or brands. That's pretty cool. So what are you seeing in the trends? What are the latest trends in the beverage industry, especially with CBD? Because we've seen CBD, ride the roller coaster of popularity and or trust over the last few years as the cannabis industry becomes more mainstream. What are you guys seeing from your point of view?
Yeah, CBD is definitely becoming more mainstream. I think that as with any ingredient, we live in a world today where people have the ability to research ingredients and get information online like they've never had before. So we have a higher amount of foodies and people that really appreciate ingredients, how they're made, what makes them unique, and what makes them high quality. So we're kind of seeing CBD is taking that same trend where it was introduced into the market. People are really excited by this new thing that wasn't available prior to cannabis being legal or hemp being legal. And as people are understanding that, they're doing more research online. The unfortunate thing is there's a lot of misinformation online as well, but it's highlighting the fact that there's a lot to learn about CBD. So with that, I think the next phase is customers developing trust around certain brands. And that's kind of something that SōRSE Tech, our goal as a company is really to help people. And so by helping them, we're providing them with a CBD product that can help them with their medical issues if it's something that works that way. Where we recently acquired Pascal Biotech. This is a company that's doing research on how CBD can help cure cancer. So we're doing our research in the background, trying to create a really safe, reliable product for consumers, because we know people are going to get to a point where they're going to know enough about CBD to know that they need to start asking questions. And so what we're also trying to do is we're trying to educate our customers on what sort of questions they should be asking for and what they should be looking for. So if they know that CBD is great, it's a great trend, right? It's a great ingredient. It's exciting. It's everywhere. But if they're trying to figure out what makes this product better than the product next to it, when I'm just looking at it in the grocery store, for our SōRSE ingredients, we offer our customers the option of putting powered by SōRSE on their product. So then customers can look at that and know that they're using a CBD that's been vetted by our company. So we're really trying to increase the amount of knowledge that we're putting out there so we can help educate consumers, educate our customers, and make it a little bit easier for them to know whether the product is a good product that they should be buying.
Now, coming from a huge company like Starbucks, obviously marketing, budgeting wasn't an issue there. And not to mention, it just goes viral just because everybody knows Starbucks. So it just becomes a household name.
I know, it's amazing, right?
It really is incredible. So how can, when you go to a smaller company, how are you tackling the marketing aspect with all the limitations in the industry?
We have a very, I guess, like sophisticated team of scientists, people that used to work in the food industry, people that have worked in sales, people that come from startups, people that have started their own companies and been successful. So as we're kind of navigating our way through this, the one thing is that we're very flexible. So if we see an area that needs to have a deeper dive in, we have the ability, we have the resources to be able to go into that area and research and learn what we need to do. So the biggest way that we're tackling this market is just by staying flexible.
Got it. So as a father of two entrepreneurial daughters, I always like to ask female guests on the show, what has your experience been as a key player, as a high achieving woman in the food and beverage industry and now translating into the cannabis industry?
As a woman.
Yeah, because, we see a lot of people, this is a man's world. This is not, this is more equal opportunity for women, especially cannabis. We're trying to get, diversification in the executive roles in the cannabis companies. Have you found any hurdles with that? Has it been an easy transition for you?
It's interesting because I actually think about that a lot, just for the fact that if you visualize my world, for the last 22 years, I worked in a building that was primarily female. And it was a great company. I'm not actually super used to working with men because there's not a lot of them that work at Starbucks. I think it's like 20% male. Working in this world, it's a little bit more of a 50-50 divide. There's definitely a lot more men that work there, but we also have a lot of female, and we have females that are in our executive area. We have females that are on our board. So you don't think about it as much because it seems so evenly distributed. And I'm impressed with how diverse we are when it comes to the amount of females that we have, or just by the type of people that we're hiring. I think that in the science world, you're less focused on whether that person is male or female and more focused on whether they have the skills that you need in order to make the company successful.
Yeah, I agree. And that was beautifully said. It's 2020. Let's put all that stuff aside and just get the most talented and hardworking people out there and make them successful. So that's great.
Yeah, you kind of wish it was like that everywhere, but I don't know if it is, but in our company it is.
So talk about for those people out there that maybe have started up a small CBD brand or they're looking for different CBD brands to trust. What's the psychology behind some of the branding, package design, or user experiences that are out there?
From more of a retail standpoint, or
yes,
if your own business and you wanted to buy CBD?
Well, you can hit it from both, from the consumer and business owner point of view. We have a mix in our listenership or our audience of both. So I like to hit it from both angles, from the ownership point of view and from the customer point of view.
Okay, so we'll start from, if you're going to develop a product and say we're making a gummy, because there's a lot of gummies out there that are popular. And we've decided that we want to add CBD to it. The first thing that you would want to do is you would want to reach out to multiple CBD companies, do your research online, see what sort of products that they have. And then when you start talking to the company, find out if they have any sort of stability data. Do they have any data where they've taken their product and put it into a gummy and then done testing over a 12-month cycle in order to figure out how long their product is stable for? So the first is see if they have any background information on stability. If you're going to pay for CBD, it's expensive. You want to make sure that it's showing up in your product for the consumer. The next I would ask is how are they testing their product? Do they have the ability to provide you with a certificate of analysis? Are they using a third-party lab to come up with this, or are they doing it internally? I personally would trust someone that's using an external lab as opposed to their own lab. I feel like if they have their own lab, I'd want to see both. And then at the same time, as you're working with these companies, if you find a company out there that doesn't have the ability to provide you with any data or provide you with a COA, or that's not doing any sort of testing, I wouldn't work with them. They're too new. You also want to make sure that your company is stable. So as you're ordering your ingredients and billing out your product, you want a company that's been around for a while, because you don't want that company to go out of business as soon as you develop your product. And then with CBD in the isolate form, there can be a lot of impurities in that. So when you think about minerals, solvents, how it's processed, different testing that they do, you want to ask them what they test for and compare that between different companies. Make sure that they are doing as much research as possible on their product in order to keep it consistent before you start ordering it and using it for your product. So it's the kind of the research that you should do from a product standpoint. It's your responsibility as the company that's selling your product to make sure that the ingredients that are in your product are safe and that they're consistent. So that would be the first part of it. As a consumer, if you're going into the store and say you're going to buy a CBD product, one thing to know is that right now you're not allowed to make any sort of we call them structure function claims on packaging. So CBD hasn't been proven by the FDA to have any sort of medicinal effect. So if your packaging that you're buying, if it says this will cure something, or this will give you energy, or this will help you relax, or this will improve memory function, that's a big warning sign right there. They're not allowed to do that. And if there is a company that's doing that, they know their product is going to be recalled eventually, and that's a risk that they've decided to take. And companies that take risks like that, I wouldn't buy their product. I would say that that's a big red flag to stay away from that. If you're buying a product and it's paired with other things, like say you're buying a CBD melatonin gummy, and if that gummy says it'll help you sleep, the melatonin will help you sleep, and they are allowed to make that with that product. So in that case, it would be beneficial to get a CBD melatonin. So you kind of have to look at the packaging, see what kind of claims that they're making, see what sort of information they put on the ingredient statement, look at the ingredient statement and see if it makes sense. So if it's a food ingredient and it doesn't seem to list, if it says that it has, I'm trying to visually, you can tell that some ingredients have more in them than you see on an ingredient statement. And whether that's because it has a color and it doesn't have anything added to it that would give it color, that's also a red flag there, is that their ingredient statement isn't very thorough, and likely their product will eventually be recalled. But there's a lot of products out there and they don't have the ability to recall everything that makes a false claim. So as a consumer, we just need to know this as we're looking at products.
Excellent. Excellent answer. So please tell the Pot.live community, where can they get more information on SōRSE Technology and/or contact your team with any other questions?
Oh, we have a really great website. And on our website, we have a list of all of kind of our key people that work at the company. So there's a little bio so you can see if there's someone there that might have the answer. We also have a blog that's connected to our webpage that gives you more insight on specific topics. And then there is a phone number, and you can fill out your information and someone will come back and reach out to you to answer your questions.
And what is the website address?
SōRSEtech.com. So SōRSETECH.com.
Great. And we'll have that in the show notes as well. So before we finish up, drop one more piece of value on our listeners. Give us something that you're excited about in the cannabis industry overall and something that concerns you.
Well, I think the most exciting thing personally, and it makes me very excited to be a part of SōRSE Technology with this, is that I mentioned it earlier that we had purchased Pascal Biosciences. So with that, having somebody on our team, a group of people on our team that are doing research into cannabis and how CBD can help with cannabis, I think each of us knows somebody that we care about deeply that could benefit from CBD, that we wish there was more research on CBD, or we wish it was more available for them. And so I feel like our acquisition of Pascal will help that happen. I know personally, every time I hear that someone might have cancer, I'm like, take a whole bunch of CBD. I hope it helps. On the other side of that, the part that scares me is that it is very popular. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And I'm seeing a lot of websites personally that are targeting seniors, and they're not real, they're scams. It's much like the magical ingredient that can cure everything. And that worries me a little bit because I don't want my father or my mother-in-law to read these and become a victim of some sort of scam. So I just want people to be aware that there are websites out there and there are products out there that have a lot of misinformation. It talks about a lot of stuff that's true. It talks about a lot of stuff that we hope is true. But the website isn't real, and you can tell because, one, you're not allowed to make claims. And so if you read something that says, and they're making a whole bunch of claims, know that that website is probably fraudulent.
Got it. Excellent. Well, Michelle Sundquist of SōRSE Technologies, thank you so much for being our guest today. And we look forward to seeing everyone next time on the Pot.live podcast. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. Thank you.
If you are into the recreational side of the cannabis industry, yes, stoners, I'm talking to you. then thepot.com is the online and mobile destination for you. That's right, THEPOT.com, thepot.com. Where else can you find the exclusive Pot Mate of the Month? Take a pot quiz and win prizes. Scroll through hilarious memes and jokes and check out the latest podcasts, news, and trends, all while having your own profile and voice in the pot.com forum. Visit thepot.com today and get lit.